We will have to proceed. I have shared the answers to the multiple choice that you started on Friday, the answer key. Were you able to get all done?
Yes, I got the answer from YouTube.
Oh, you got the answer key too?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me something. You got the answers before you did
No,
that?
after.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. I was just gonna send police to look for you. Okay. We could just run through them quickly then, since you already got the answers, and if maybe offer a little explanation with the answers. Let me get it open.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to reproduction.
Okay.
Right. Remember to buy your 3B pencils as soon as possible. Were you able to get the timetable yet?
No, I'll go on Supplement this week.
Right. 3B pencils tend to go scarce sometimes during the CXC exam because some persons like they want 10. It's the whole country, all the Form 5s, every student buying 3B pencil. But some persons really buy too many, more than they need. And I don't think the bookshops usually cater for that number of sales.
Okay.
Multiple choice are further down, but to be safe than sorry. When shading in the answers on the bubble sheet, so that's what we call it, the answer sheet, make sure that the entire area is shaded. You don't really want to go over too much, but if your pencil goes outside of the line a little when you're circling, that's not a problem, as long as it doesn't go over into another thing. But don't leave out like a little white spot in the middle and all that. You don't want to leave any chance for error.
Okay.
You don't want the machine to reject your answer because there was some uncertainty. Okay. Number 1. Which part of the cell contains? I'm laughing because I would have asked that same question. Yeah, I'm pull up my answer one time too. I would have asked that very same question. Which part of the cell controls all the activities of the cell? Quite naturally, that would be the nucleus, which of course is A. Next, which of the following specialized cells is found in the gut? Oh, we went through this one. It can't be the, and I had explained that although you have white blood cells all over the body, we do not expect that as the answer because that is found all about. The answer would be D, because those are cells of the villi. Item 3 refers to the food web, which shows the feeding relationship for animals in a forest. The anteater, ladybird, caterpillar, termite, etc., etc. And of course, we need to remember that the arrows, they show the direction in which energy flows in the food chain, energy in the form of food, where each organism becomes food for the one that it is pointing to. So the energy flows from that organism as it is being eaten by the one further up in the food chain. I'll just hold until you get back in. Yeah, I was just holding until you get back in. So I was saying, the energy flows in the direction from the organism that is being eaten to the one that eats it. So let's see what the questions are, or the option. Which of the following outcomes will occur if the mealybug becomes extinct? In other words, you're going to remove one organism from the food web. So ladybug is out. It means that this branch of the food chain, of the food web is going to disappear. The anteater no longer eats, well, it no longer has ladybug to eat. A number of things can happen. And also there's no longer a ladybird. Which one is it? Which one? Yeah. Oh, the mealybug. I'm talking about ladybug. It's the mealybug. So the ladybird no longer has a mealybug to feed on, and the mealybug no longer feeds on the hibiscus leaves. The mealybug is no longer eaten by the anteater. A number of things can happen there. The anteater will be eating more caterpillars and termites to supplement its diet because of the loss of the mealybug from its diet. So these populations might be affected more because you have more predation, and the hibiscus leaf might be more flourishing because the mealybugs are not affecting it, and that might cause an increase in the caterpillar population because the caterpillar has more healthy leaves to eat. The ladybird might have a problem because the ladybird source of food, according to this web, is the mealybug. So the population of the ladybug might decrease as a result of the loss of the mealybug from its diet. So let's see what the options are. Which of the following outcomes will occur if the mealybug becomes extinct? The hibiscus leaves will decrease. That could never be the answer because the mealybug is no longer feeding on the hibiscus leaves. The anteater population will die out. Certainly not, because the anteater still have caterpillar and termites, and maybe to some extent the ladybird until the ladybird itself becomes extinct, I guess. The ladybird I give the clue to the answer. The ladybird population will die out. That is the correct answer because according to this food web in the forest, the only thing that the ladybird feeds on, the only food available to it here is the mealybug. And if the mealybug becomes extinct, the ladybird would die of starvation. It would also become extinct. So C is the correct answer. And D, the caterpillar population will increase. I wouldn't really say so because the anteater, because it is no longer eating ladybirds and mealybugs, it will be feeding more on caterpillar and termites. So their population would go down. C is the correct answer. And this refers to the same question they said. Which of the following diagrams, items 4 refer to the following diagram, which shows a process that occurs in the human body. I thought it's not 2 and 3. Oh, just 3. All right. Okay. Yes, so this diagram shows a process that occurs in the human body, and it appears that there is a barrier, and we have some positive signs which would probably represent ions. Remember, ions are positive or negative particles formed when minerals are dissolved in water. So you have a low concentration on this side of the barrier and a high concentration on the other side of the barrier of these ions. We don't know what it is, whether it's sodium, potassium, or what, but we know it's ions because we see the positive sign. So there's a high concentration on this side and a low concentration here. The question says, the process illustrated in the diagram above is referred to as. The first thing most students are going to jump on is diffusion, because they're thinking of a process in which things are moving from across a membrane. They just think about particles moving. Some would say it's osmosis because they see a membrane. But if you remember carefully, when you're moving ions against a concentration gradient across a membrane, that would have to be active transport, and it would require energy. So the correct answer in this case is D, active transport. It can't be transpiration because transpiration is evaporation of water from the leaves of plants. Diffusion, with or without the barrier, diffusion would be referring to the movement of particles from a high concentration to a low concentration, and this is going in the opposite direction. Osmosis, it can't be the movement of ions, it's just the movement of water. So this would also be out. Item 5 refers to the following diagram, which shows the final step involved in testing for the presence of starch in a leaf. So let's see. It looks like they drop in solution X onto the leaf in a petri dish. The petri dish is on a white tile so that you would be able to see any color change more easily. When solution X is dropped on the leaf, assuming photosynthesis has occurred, the leaf will become either pale, black, yellow, wrinkled. We're going to have to go with black because we know iodine changes to blue-black in the presence of starch. And if we are assuming that photosynthesis has occurred, then starch would be present in the leaf. Your correct answer would be B. Number 6, which of the following minerals, which I would have put in 1, which one of the following minerals plays an important role in the nucleus of the cell and is necessary for the formation of bones and teeth? So it's present in the nucleus of the cells, and it plays an important role in the nucleus of the cells, and it is necessary for the formation of bones and teeth. The answer would be P, phosphorus. Phosphorus. 7, which of the following vitamins is classified as water soluble? If you remember ADEK, ADEK, those will be the fat soluble ones. And we can see that we have A, D, and K here. So our correct answer is going to be C, of course, vitamin C. This keyboard. 7, 8. The best reason for including water in the diet is that it dissolves nutrients during digestion. That is correct. It is necessary to prevent the development of scurvy. No, man, we know that is vitamin C we really need for that. It is the medium in which certain minerals are stored. That's outer reason. Water can't store anything. Things can dissolve in water, but because you keep passing out water, whatever is dissolved in the water would pass out, either in your sweat or your urine. Water is important in the diet because it stops hunger from returning. Wait, I had to laugh. I didn't really go through the whole paper. It stops hunger from returning too early after a meal is eaten. Sexy hard. That's really out because the amount of water I will be drinking, boy. So A is the correct answer. It dissolves nutrients during digestion. And number 9, which of the following measures can be used to categorize obesity? You see, I'm making some mistakes when I'm reading because sometimes I'm reading and I'm looking down at the options. I don't think it's something that you should practice, but that's causing me to stumble. You're looking down at the options and then you might want to already be psychologically picking one in your mind even before you read the question, which could be bad. I believe it's a habit that probably stuck with me. because when you're speeding through the multiple choice, you need to read the questions properly, but in the back of your mind, one of the number one things there is speed, and you're just trying to get things done quickly, and you could make errors. You could make errors like that. So yes, number 9. Which of the following measures can be used to categorize obesity? You have height, weight, blood pressure, and the thing you all didn't do, body mass index. There's the correct answer. Your height alone can't give an indication of whether or not a person is obese. A person could be short, they could be tall. They don't have to be obese. The weight alone, no. It has to be the weight in relation to the height of the person. And blood pressure, not at all. You have mager people with high blood pressure, mager people with low blood pressure, and the same with some persons who are already overweight. So the body mass index D would be the correct answer. For number 10, which of the following teeth present in children and adults is responsible for grinding food into smaller pieces? You shouldn't even get into anything mixed up, but here, you see what they say here, in children and adults. Children and adults, CXC is very, very smart. When you say children, you need to consider that most children do not have molars yet. They're still on their temporary teeth. But it's the children and adults, so children don't have molars, but they have premolars, and adults do have premolars. So the correct answer is going to have to be D. This is a really, really tricky question. I think I'll be using it in the future. This is a really, really, really tricky one because everybody knows that molars are used for grinding food into smaller pieces, but they're going to ignore, from the reading, they're going to ignore children and adults. And just like I said, when you're doing the fast reading and scanning answers while you're reading, you could make that mistake right there. The answer is D. Number 11. Which row in the following table correctly matches the enzyme with its site of production? So where is the enzyme being made? You have sucrase. C is correct. You have sucrase, pancreas, no. Maltase, so pepsin, walls of stomach, amylase, walls of stomach, walls of small intestines. I got that wrong. In the salivary glands, you have salivary amylase, and the walls of the small intestines, no, is the pancreas that secretes the pancreatic amylase and so on. And we have a graph. Here's data analysis. You're supposed to be able to read graphs. Item 12 refers to the following graph, which shows how the rate of reaction varies with temperature for a certain enzyme. So let's understand the graph before we look at the choices. You have temperature increasing across, and you have the rate of the reaction increasing up. So as the line goes up, that means the rate of reaction is more, or it is higher. And as you go further across the graph, you're looking at the temperature in relation to where the rate of reaction is. So at 0 degrees Celsius, there's no reaction according to this. The rate of reaction is 0, so nothing is happening. But as the temperature is increasing, we notice also that the rate of reaction is also increasing until it gets to about 40, around 40, where the rate of the reaction is higher. And as the temperature keeps increasing still, the rate of reaction starts back to fall. That's what we can tell from this graph. Now to look at the question. Which of the following conclusions can be deduced from the graph above? You notice I go through the thing to understand it even before I get the options to try to confuse me, because sometimes when you look at the option, you start to second guess yourself because some of them can be pretty close and look correct. The rate of reaction reaches a maximum at 20 degrees Celsius. Only Doofus would put that. Rate of reaction reach a maximum at 20. No. It's up here. The optimum temperature for the reaction is 30 degrees Celsius. What happens at 30? That could never be, because that is not where the enzyme is working at its best. The rate of reaction is slower at a lower temperature, at lower temperatures. We can't say that neither. While that is true, it is also true at higher temperatures. So once you could say that the rate of reaction is slower at higher temperatures also, then you can't take that as the answer. And D, the rate of reaction decreases as temperature. Which one did I say there? The rate of reaction is slower at lower temperatures. This is an ambiguous answer, no? Because D can be the answer and C has to be the answer, but C is ambiguous. Let me look at D again. The rate of reaction decreases as temperature. No, that's out. This C is the correct answer. But this, I would have sent this back to CXC and dispute this question, because they allow you to do that on the exam, but we don't get to see the multiple choice really. So we can dispute them, but this question should be thrown out or rephrased. The answer should be rephrased, because the rate of reaction decreases as temperature increases. I can say that that is true because where's my thing? I can't get my mark. Can't get my drawing tool. From 40 degrees to 60 degrees, the rate of reaction is decreasing as the temperature increases. So I could say that D is correct. And for C, the rate of reaction is slower at lower temperatures. Yeah, it is slower when the temperature is down here, but it is also slower when the temperature is higher than 40. So that question should be thrown away, because there are two correct answers. But if I go to the answer, Kate says that the answer is C. That's what they want. That's what they're going to give, right? But as far as I'm concerned, there's no correct answer here, because both of them are ambiguous. They can be true to an extent. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So they do make mistakes. Number 13. Nice diagram. Items 13 refer to the following diagram, which shows the organs of the digestive system. It's not popular CXC diagram. I stole this diagram already and use it in exam. Which of the labeled organs? Okay, before we go to the question, 1 is the stomach, 2 is the pancreas, 3 is the gallbladder, and 4 is the appendix. So now, which of the labeled organs above is the pancreas? 2, which corresponds to B, so B is the correct answer for number 13. For 14, a villus is best able to perform its function because it has, well, we know some of the things that the villus need to have is large surface area, thin walls, blood supply, rich blood supply. So what we have here now, because it has a thick epithelial lining, no man, you gotta have to dash. Once you see thick, that answer get dashed for a long time. A very small surface, no sir. Dash with that. Few carrier proteins within its cell membrane. we won't take that neither, because a lot of active transport will be taking place there. You're going to have a lot of carrier proteins to move the ions into the cells of the villi. Several projections called microvilli present on the surface. This is the correct answer. D is the correct answer. You put on the answers on the answer sheet. I should have one time. Number 14, 15. Mosquito no. In which of the following organs does chemical digestion occur only? And they put only in bold. So they don't really want to feel like they're tricking you. They're making sure you see the only. So chemical digestion only occurs in one of the following organs. No. I said that wrong. What I meant to say is only chemical digestion occurs in the organ that we're going to pick. All right, reading it again. In which of the following organs does chemical digestion occur only? I think they put the only in bold because writing the question like this, my English teacher would still tell me is a clumsy construction, because you could confuse somebody who is reading it because of where you put the only. The only really should go in front of chemical. And if we do that, we would say, in which of the following organs does only chemical digestion occur? That's what we want. We want to know the one where only chemical digestion taking place. When you put the only, you don't put adverbs at the end of a sentence. I learned that in Form 2, although I still used to do it. You see, you're supposed to say, let me give you an example. I just teach other things than when I teach my subject, because I believe in preparing people for life, not just my subject. People ask, where are you going to? The Queen's English requires that you say, to where are you going? You have to put you can't put the to at the end. Yeah. Who you going with? With whom are you going? But that's the correct grammatical way. But so this is an adverb and they put it behind here, it causes confusion, because only could be used with anything, and that will mean the thing only. If you put organs only, does only, chemical, wherever you put it only, it is going to change the meaning of the sentence, and it should really be before chemical. So in which of the following organs does only chemical digestion take place? It can't be the mouth, because with chewing, and that's physical digestion, we break down things physically. In the stomach, no, because the stomach makes churning movements to mix and actually squeeze and squish the material physically. The large intestines is out also, because no digestion takes place there. In the small intestines, you don't have that churning motion for the for digestion. All the food in the small intestines have already been liquefied, and most of it is being absorbed. You have some chemical digestion taking place there, of course, in the duodenum, but you don't have that kind of movement. So the correct answer would be C. Number 16. Which of the following factors may not affect the breathing rate of an individual? Which of the following factors may not affect the breathing rate of an individual? This is not a guess question. You're supposed to know. But you know, drugs can affect people's breathing rate. People who take drugs cause changes in the body. Drugs are chemicals that actually would bring about some kind of change in your body, whether it is your mood, your health, physical, nerve transmission. It is referred to as a drug. So that's why we don't really when I say health, I mean like I'm more referring to some of those antibiotics type drugs. I don't mean like you take some vitamin C pills. We would not consider that as a drug because it doesn't alter your state of mind nor some of the other things that we associate drugs with. So drugs is out. Height, would like to put a tick there. In the meantime, weight, an obese person tend to have a you see there with the breathing rate that we found out about that. High altitudes, that would affect your breathing rate because the concentration of oxygen is less at high altitude because the air is less dense, and in order to get the same volume of oxygen into your body, you tend to try to breathe deeper and more rapidly. But the correct answer would be height, which is B. Height does not affect breathing rate. 17 and 18 refer to the item 17 and 18 refer to the following graph, which shows the relationship between the average age of death and the number of cigarettes smoked per day. So what are we looking for? The average age of death and that relationship between number of cigarettes smoked per day. Those are the two variables we're going to look for on the graph. For number 17 and 18, of course. So let's look at the graph. Going up on this side on the y-axis, we have the average age of death, arranged from 67 to 75, and the number of cigarettes smoked increases along the horizontal axis or the x-axis, from 0 cigarettes to 30. We notice that the person who smokes 0 cigarettes, the people who smoke 0 cigarettes, the average age of their death is around between 74 and 75. While the persons who smoke, let's say 30 cigarettes per day, their average age at death is between 68 and 69. So we get that clear in our mind before we look at the question to confuse us. Now, if an individual died at 70 years old, how many packs of cigarettes did he smoke per day? Duh. Okay, so let's go for 70. 70 is across here. I can't draw the line on it. 70 is, won't let me draw. So why I can't get my, this does behave like a real gremlin sometimes, you know. But okay, then if we follow from 70 going across, we notice that basically, that age going across this entire line here would be that age. The number of cigarettes smoking where the line intersect would be about 5. So coming back to our options, there's 0, out, 10, 5. The correct answer would be B. Correct answer would be B. 70-year-old person, 5 cigarettes per day. At what age did non-smokers die? At what age did non-smokers die? So people who don't smoke would be the people with 0 cigarettes per day. Common sense should let you know that. You look up and say, but it ain't no everybody smoking. Clout. So at which age did the non-smoker die? We have non-smoker is 0. So let's go up our graph. We halfway between 74 and 75. So that's 74 and a half years, 74.5 years. Do we have that? Yes, we have that in the answer C. 74.5 years. So our answer would be C. You have to learn to gather information from graphs. So let's move on to number 20. Okay, we gone down in the thorax. Item 19 referred, I said 20, but it's 19. 19. Item 19 referred to the diagram which shows the structure of the human respiratory system. Which of the labeled structures above, in which of the labeled structures does gaseous exchange take place? I just want to come off of the biology and go back to some English. You notice in comes at the beginning of the sentence,
Yeah.
like to where are you going? With whom are you going? If we had said, which of the label structures above does gaseous exchange take place in? That's how normal Vinci talk is and how many persons would write it. But to put it grammatically correct, this cannot come at the end of the sentence. That's to come before. I thank God for Miss France. Was a really, really good English teacher. And I was privileged to have English teacher who write English textbook. So that was a blessing. Yes, in which label structure does gaseous exchange take place? Well, we know we don't say gaseous exchange takes place in the lungs, but if we want to be very specific, we'll have to say the air sac or alveolus, plural alveoli. Even if you don't know the name, you're supposed to know where it is located. So this question is testing you in terms of your knowledge of the structure of the respiratory system. I bet if they put alveoli there, some persons would know the answer is alveoli, but they don't know where in the body is the alveoli located. So you need to know. So where's the alveoli? It looks like it can't be number 3 because number 3 look at like it in a tube, right?
2.
So it can be that. And 2 is on the alveoli, which is correct. So B, which is 2, would be the correct answer for number 19. Which of number 20, which chamber of the heart has the thickest wall? This one would catch some persons because when they try to visualize the heart in the mind, they mix up on the side. Anytime you're thinking about the diagram of the heart, pretend you're looking at somebody in front of you with the heart in their body. So over to your right side, when you put out your right hand, that is the person's left side. So the left side of the heart on paper might cause some confusion with persons. Just remember that you're looking at it in somebody's body. So the left ventricle we had identified as the thickest part. It could never be any of the atria, atrium singular. Left and right atrium are the 2 chambers at the top. Those are very thin compared with the others. The left and right ventricles are thicker, but the left ventricle, because it has to pump blood to the rest of the body, it was tend to be thicker and more muscular. The right ventricle only pumps blood to the lungs. That is the pulmonary circulation, because pulmonary has to do with lungs. So our answer would be C, left ventricle. 21. Excuse me. Systolic pressure is defined as the lowest pressure when the heart relaxes. No, that's diastolic pressure. The highest pressure when the heart relaxes. The lowest pressure when the heart contracts. The highest pressure when the heart contracts. This is a nice question. This is a nice question. It's a question that would really tax the brain of the student. The correct answer is D. Associate systole with system or systemic circulation. So you know the amount of blood, the pressure of the blood to go around the system is going to have to be high. So systolic pressure tends to be higher than diastolic pressure. 22. Lymph is different from tissue fluid because lymph contains a higher concentration. Lymph is different from tissue fluid because lymph contains a higher concentration of nutrients and oxygen. That can't be. Tissue fluid has to have more oxygen and nutrients. B, amino acids and water. You will stick a pin in that one because it looks like the correct answer. But you can answer a higher concentration of water. Where's the try it? Why you put water in that one? But anyway, C, carbon dioxide and urea. No. You have more carbon dioxide in the blood itself being transported as bicarbonate. And D, it contains more plasma proteins and red blood cells. There are no red blood cells in the lymph. If a couple escape, it could never be no high concentration. So the correct answer would have to be B, amino acids and water. Item 23 refer to the following diagram, which shows 4 components of the blood. Which row of the following table correctly identify each component of the blood above? So if we look carefully, these look like the phagocytes. Look at their shape, and they have the lobed nucleus with different swellings called lobes. So these have to be the phagocytes. Definitely are going to be some type of monocyte that we call the lymphocytes, with the big nucleus occupying almost the entire cell. And these little tiny particles, they look like the platelets, and these discs, they look like the red blood cells. So in doing a question like this, let's say you do not know 1 or 2 of the structures here. You could still get the correct answer by elimination. So you know definitely for sure Q would be phagocytes. You would say, okay, this is could be one answer, and you don't see phagocytes here again. And then you check to see where they have phagocytes. S. These could never be phagocytes, so you say dash with this. B is out completely. Where they have phagocytes again. C is a boy to show but one. Show but one. And then they come back down here with D and put the phagocytes here. So you know D and B are out. Your answer has to be A, and you have a little hang up about C concerning these two. But you know the platelets are the tiny particles too, right? So you realize that T can't be the platelets. Platelets ain't wrong. And you know the platelets are the small ones. So without knowing all of these, you can still get the correct answer by elimination. It's better to know, but when you don't know, you don't necessarily have to guess. Use a strategy and eliminate the ones that you know are wrong. So the correct answer here would be A. 24. The role of an artificial pacemaker. The role of an artificial pacemaker is to control the heartbeat. No. If the heartbeat, no, you use a defibrillator to do that. The electrical thing when they say clear and they put that on the person's chest and apply it to the chest on the side. Speed up the heartbeat. No, is speeding up or slowing down is to control the rate. So speed up is a wrong term to use here. So that would be out. Some persons would put it, you know. And slow down the heartbeat, you're not interested in doing that. You just want it to be controlled. So the correct answer would be A. The role of an artificial pacemaker is to control the heartbeat. And people usually get that when their heartbeat is below what it should be. Sometimes as people get older, the heart rate falls off. It becomes too slow. You need to get oxygen going around the body faster. So that is why CXC would want to throw in this option here with speeding up the heartbeat, because there are some persons who are going to put that based on that knowledge. But the better way to put it is to say to control the heartbeat. 25. Tendons are tissues which we have a heap of thing there. Tendons are tissues which attach bone at a joint. Doesn't that sound like ligament? because we know tendons don't do that. But because persons tend to get mixed up with them, hence the question. Tendons are tissues which prevent the rubbing of bones. That sounds like cartilage. Tendons are tissues which prevent the dislocation of bones. That sounds like ligaments again. Tendons are tissues which attach the ends of muscles to bones. That is the correct answer, because tendons join muscles to bones. So D is the correct answer for number 25. Which row in the following table describes the action of an antagonistic muscle when flexing the lower arm? Remember, antagonistic means that the muscles are working in an opposing manner to each other, not at the same time, but when one relaxes, the other one brings about motion, and then when that one relaxes, the other muscle contracts instead to bring about motion in the opposite direction. So we call it antagonistic. So which row describes the action of antagonistic muscles when flexing the arms? And these muscles, of course, are the biceps and triceps. You flexing your arm. Flexing means to bring it up. Like you're raising it like you want to show off you're a muscle man or a muscle woman. And the biceps are the muscles at the front and the triceps behind. If you flex in your arm, the biceps relaxes, that would be out. The biceps would have to contract in order to flex the arm. The arm, yeah. So I say an arm because I'm talking about arm. It is out and B is out because they definitely have to, the biceps have to contract. C is going to be our correct answer. D would be out because you can't have both biceps and triceps contracting at the same time if they're working antagonistically. That would be what might happen in a cramp. Antagonistic muscles pulling and trying to contract at the same time, which is painful. Correct answer is C. Let me see the time. I might stop at 30. I still want to touch something on reproduction first. At which type of joint, at which type of joint are bones separated by cartilage pads and allowed slight movement? At which type of joint are bones separated by cartilage pad and allowed slight movement? Fixed joint, that could be a candidate. Remember, you have some keywords here, slight movement. Pay attention to that. Ball and socket joint is out. This allows the joint to move in, the bones to move in so many different directions. Hinge joint, that's out. Synovial joints would be joints like some of those hinge joints that actually have what you call it, synovial fluid inside of them, and you have a lot of freedom of movement there. The fixed joints, however, the movement is ever so slight, like in the cranium. And this would be, as the person gets older, you don't have that movement anymore. So for 27, the correct answer is A. If you are in doubt and you think about fixed joint, but the cranium is fixed joint, it don't have no movement there. How they could say talk about slight movement? So you start to wonder which could be the answer, but you just eliminate this and you realize that no, these are worse off. The answer has to be A. When a baby is being born, the fixed joints, there's a lot of cartilage there. The skull or the cranium actually deforms to allow the head of the baby to pass through the vaginal canal more easily. When the head comes out, it's like blah, 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 like a blabber. That's why, well, they say the Carib used to shape the children's head. I don't know if that is true because it's difficult to trust the history that coming from the colonial masters. It's want to make us look so bad. I don't know if to believe them, but you could actually feel the softness of a baby's skull. For God's sake, don't squeeze them. Number 28. 28 refers to the following diagram of a skeleton. The bone labeled Z is the, boy. Come straight from Mr. Ned. Straight from Mr. Ned. Remember the flimsy one that start with F?
Yeah.
I'm telling you that. Flimsy one start with F and it behind. So, ulna, no, the ulna is in the arm. The tibia is the thick one. The tibia is thick. The fibula is flimsy. So C is the correct answer, and the radius is in the arm. So C is the correct answer here for number. Wait.
No.
Should they ask for the one in front? The tibia is the correct answer. The fibula is the flimsy one behind. It's not on that, it's on the tibia. Good. And 29. Items 29 to 30 refer to the following diagram, which shows the internal structure of the skin. Okay, let's look at it. You see a couple familiar things there, like the sweat glands. You see artery. You see the erector muscle connected to the hair follicle here. And we see something looking like some nerve ending. Okay. In answering items 29 to 30, each option may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Right, so you could have a more than one time, or you could don't use it, etc., etc. Which of the structures above secretes sweat? Oh, we have the sweat glands here. This coil tube, sweat glands. So our correct answer would be A. It secretes sweat. The sweat comes up through the pore and evaporates from the surface. Which of the structures above is stimulated when a person feels cold? Which of the following structures is stimulated when a person feels cold? You see, I don't like them kind of question here. Because it's ambiguous, it's asking for more than one answer. Because when you use the word stimulated, you're expecting a receptor to be affected by the temperature to tell you that you feel cold and cause you to do something. But the answer CXA is looking for is D, the erector muscle. The erector muscle, this wouldn't even behave how it's supposed to be. Let me highlight my thing. The erector muscle, of course, when the person is feeling cold, will pull against the hair follicle and cause it to stand up. And they're looking for that as the correct answer. But a student could say that the receptor, the nerve ending is stimulated. And that would not be wrong because you're talking about stimulus and receptor here. So if a student were to give me C, I would give them the correct answer because it is ambiguous. And CX is looking for D. Of course, what I explained in D would happen when the person feels cold. But how would the person know that they feel cold? A receptor has to be stimulated, which is what they showed me here. Okay, we would leave it here for now. The reason why I choose to go through the answers is so that you don't just want to know you have the right answer. If somebody put a tick or you see it on an answer sheet, you need some reasoning behind it, and it acts as a form of revision also. And once again, I will encourage you all to go through the multiple choice, the paper ones and paper two with teachers online on YouTube. I'll try to post some of those. So that would be a helpful form of revision. We will continue with this another time, but we will just switch over to just an introduction to reproduction before we close off. I'm going to stop the recording and start it back so I could have a separate file for that answer key.
Mhm.